Hello guys, well, do a child memory sculpture now is what we're working on. I have one here, I did Winnie the Pooh. Got my reference pictures. Right here I'm going through and using. And here's the sculpture. I'm gonna go through the video, show you how to make this, the whole process, from start to finish, and everything else. You've made an animal sculpture, you've made a shoe sculpture, you've made some other kind of other sculptures there. This process here is pretty much using those techniques we used, plus expanding on a little more knowledge we had before. I'm still using like a wooden spoon to shape the inside of it, other sticks, got my ribs, all that stuff as well. Everything is hollow. This one I built without any newspaper though. It's all newspaper. I started with a slab building it, is what I did. Is it an exact replica of Winnie the Pooh? No, there's a little my own interpretations in here, because I'm still kind of going through and cleaning up a little bit. You'll see in the video when I go through this whole process. But really, it's just basically making something from your childhood. I used to love Winnie the Pooh when I was a kid. I used to love listening to the stories. My mom, my sister would read to me, and I love all the cartoons when I was a kid. I still even watched all the movies that come out today. I don't know what it is, it's nostalgic for me. So I made Winnie the Pooh, all this jar of honey. Is it exactly perfect like the cartoon character? No, but I'm looking at something that's three-dimensional, has dimension to it, so you can see it. It's sculpture in the round, so all sides of the parts are finished. If I want, I can even pick this up. Big king, and remember, still have a hole in the bottom, and make sure your name on the bottom when you're done. But yeah, let's go and get started on this project and see me make Winnie the Pooh. And you're gonna make your own child memory sculpture. What's important from your childhood? What cartoon character you like? What kind of things you like there when you were a kid? See what you can make.
Here I'm beginning to use the slab. I just kind of roll together, scored it together. I'm using a spoon, so there's a round bottom to it, trying to bulb the body out to get the shape I want for the roundness of the body. I'm not using newspaper or anything like that, just trying to round out that bottom shape to kind of match what my pictures look like of the Winnie the Pooh I'm making. So I'm just trying to get that bottom shape out a little bit. Using a paddle, try to compress that bottom in, getting it kind of ready to go, get the basic shape roughed out. Not really, again, not using newspaper, just kind of just shaping it out, kind of like we did those mugs. And it's kind of doing the same thing there, just getting kind of shaped out the way I want it to be. Now I'm coming back and adding a bottom to my sculpture. So I just took a slab, put it on the bottom. I'm going to score and slip it on using my vinegar slip, just kind of applying it on there, pressing it, blending it on there, using my paddle to kind of compress it on down. I'm going to blend it in and get the bottom of my Winnie the Pooh I'm making. So I have the nice little shape there. Then I can go back in, stretch it out more, make sure it's all well blended on there, so the shape kind of gets to mimic what I'm trying to make from looking at my images. If my surface is losing some of its smoothness, like cracks sort of show up from me stretching out the clay, I go back over it with my rib and begin to shape it as well. And I'm using a little round stick here to kind of bulbous the bottom of the body more, kind of mimic the shape again of the pictures I'm looking at. Again, cracks will form. I just smooth them over with the flat side of my metal or my rubber rib. Can get the shape I want it to be. Here I'm going back, cutting off the top part of the piece, try to get a little bit shorter because it's a little bit too tall. Then I'm going to take one of my little rib tools I have and loosely just draw out like where the shirt's going to be, just get some basic idea of what the piece is looking like and how it's going. Just kind of looking at my shapes, getting the ideas down and kind of working it and shaping it more, get to more what I want to. I'm going to try to get that top to come in more as well. Here I'm going to begin to work on the head, so I'm using a pinch bowl again for the shaping, but I get the bowl kind of shaped out, but I'm also working on shaping, getting the basic shape of the face, looking at side versions of the cartoon animal of Pooh and then trying to mimic that shape. I'm also going in there getting the basic shape of it. I'm not worried about the back side of the head right now. I'm just getting the front part of it done, so I'm pushing out the snout of the bear, pressing a little bit where the eyes are going to go, just kind of getting that rough basic form shape of the face. Once I get the front part of the shape of the face done, I'm going to mill the back part of the head as well. I just kind of get a pinch bowl rough for the same size, and then I kind of make it out, make sure it's going to match the shape. Then I'm going to score and slip it together, and then kind of finish up shaping the face a little bit more. So I apply my vinegar, kind of press everything together, begin to blend it, smooth it, make sure it's going to fit what I want it to, and then begin to kind of work it and blend it, and I'll smooth it all together. I'm using a paddle here to help get the shape I want it to be, to kind of mimic it and just kind of help it out a little bit because it's not totally perfectly round. So I can use that paddle, kind of blend it in and smooth it in. And then I just come back over and really just get rid of that seam and keep blending, paddling, and keep working to get the desired shape I want. Once I get everything blended together, I'm going to go back in, cut the bottom of it out because you can't have any air gap spaces. Got to make sure there's no air can be trapped in there. It makes it easy when you're making your sculpture. Allows everything to dry a little more evenly. So I have an air to connect to a hollow body. So it also allows me to get my hand in there and kind of blend it and smooth it more. Get some more shaping done I need to do as well. To any cracks form show up, we just kind of smooth them out. Kind of just keep working the shape a bit more this way. It allows me to get my finger in there, kind of mimic that shape more I want of Pooh's head, match up to the body and see how it's going. Do not forget to keep looking at your reference material and what you're building and making. That's a good idea to do. If you have a good idea of what's going or have some reference material to help you make your shape, you have a lot more success in building your project. Got to keep looking at what you're making and building. Here I'm adding the shoulders onto my Pooh sculpture. It's where the arms will begin to get started. I'll score and slip on the pieces, and then I'll come back in, cut out little holes underneath them, so I can, kind of manipulate and move the arms around as well. And also gives a nice air gap space into where the arms are going to be, and also kind of shapes the piece a little bit. I can get in there and blend it a little bit easier too. So kind of think about as you're building your sculpture, keep checking your reference material, keep looking at what you're making, and keep taking your time in building what's right. That is my recommendation. The next part, I'm building the legs. I just took a slab, rolled it around like a paintbrush, a stick or something, get that round shape of the leg so it's nice and hollow. Then I'm going back in, pushing that extra piece that's going to go on. It's going to be like the main beef, the leg that's going to attach on there. I'm just kind of pushing it out so it's a round shape. So I attach on there, as you can see. This allows it to have some bulk to it as well. And then I'm going to go back in, score and slip them on, and blend them on there and shape them. Then fill any gaps or space that I need to. If you also notice, I have cut a hole in there as well, so it allows the air to escape into the piece. It's going to blend and smooth it on there. I've kind of pressed it back on, just like we did our lids of our lidded vessels. Anything else you kind of make round in your hand, kind of press it to make it a little bit of the tool. By having those holes cut through the legs as well, I can take a stick, go in there and push out the top parts of the leg to make them more bulbous as well. It allows me to get in there and kind of shape them. Again, add clay in there to fill in the gaps, spaces where there might need to be, and just kind of keep working the legs around. And look at my pictures again for reference to make sure they're kind of mimicking and matching up what I want them to look like. Here I'm giving the illusion that Winnie the Pooh's wearing a shirt. I score and slip around, added a very thin, small coil, and I'm going to blend it onto it, make sure it all fits. And then I blend upwards onto the piece so it kind of still looks like it's a shirt going around them like the pictures show. I don't blend to the bottom, only the very top into the rest of the piece is what I'm doing. That way it gives that kind of a look of a t-shirt. Really make sure you take the time to blend all your seams and your pieces together. That is very crucial when doing this, because you don't want your pieces to fall off. Again, I'm worried about basic shapes, not worried about a lot of detail right now, just getting the basic shapes. If I have to add clay in there, I add clay onto it to kind of build up the piece I'm trying to create and make. As you can see, the second coil almost goes through the first, not the coil, the first little circled thing goes through the other one. So I'm using chopsticks, skewers to help support them. I'm poking holes all the way through. It's good to do that anyways, because that way there's no air that'll be trapped in there, and there are holes that'll be falling through the whole entire piece as I'm doing there. So there's at least some holes in there. This allows me to blend and shape it a bit. Once I have it kind of done, I'll fill in the hole on the other side, get to blend and work the piece a little bit more to get the desired width of the arm I want, kind of make sure it's going to work that way. So I kind of just work on the piece get the basic shape of what it needs to be, and yeah, kind of keep working with the piece. So that's what I'm working on here. The wooden stick helps as like a little armature to help support the arm the way I want it to go, so I can kind of work on it without it collapsing or falling apart. I just kind of fill it in with the coils I need to, little pieces of clay, make sure they're nice and flat. Keep blending and working the clay around. Then once I have it desired shape, I remove the armature and fill in little gaps and stuff that might be in there, and just kind of rework the shape to have the arm the way I want it to be. We're going to pause right here so you can get started on your project, and then we'll continue the video later. Here I'm building the feet. They're just solid little balls of clay. Shape them to look like the piece. I did kind of push in the inside of them a little bit, so there's a little bit of a hole, and then I'm just going to score and slip and blend them on there. They're solid, but I just pushed a stick in there, something to kind of push in a little bit of the clay, and then I'm going to add in coils, clay around there. I'm going to build them and look at my reference sheet on the side to kind of make the feet look like they match. They could be pretty much solid clay. I did put little holes in them, score and slip them on there, and then attach them on there. It's the easiest way to do that. I can come back and shave them down a little bit later on the project. Once I got the feet on, I'm now going to score and slip the head on. I got the basic shape of the head. I'm going to score and slip it on there. I'm going to fill it in with some clay around it so it'll stay on and will not come off. So I'm going to fill in little gap spaces with clay, really kind of press it in there and score and slip it on, kind of finish it off. So I'm ready to move on to the next step of building up the collar. Now once I've got the head on there, I'm now going to go around and add on the collar to the piece. Winnie the Pooh's wearing a shirt, so I have to give that look to it. So again, I go with a small coil, score and slip, blend it on there, and then I'm going to blend down this time so it blends into the shirt so like it's part of the shirt and actually has a little collar on. So what I'm going to do. So just score and slip it and then just blend down with the little stick is what I'm going to do. Now once the head is well secured on, I have the collar built up of the shirt. I'm now going to begin to add eyeballs, little small dots of clay, score and slip those on, its eyebrows, and also its ears, and not all is solid clay. Just kind of get the basic shape what they need to be in. It's going to score and slip and blend on, and really this is where I start working the details. The last things I'm going to add are the hands, because he's going to have a little honey pot that's going to be in front of him. So I really can't add that on until I know where the pot's going to be and how it's scored and slipped in, but I can get some details on the head. So I'm going to add the eyeballs, the eyebrows, the ears, and all that stuff, and also add the nose, which are down there. These are all little just balls of clay. Usually have a flat side where they're going to go, and I just kind of make sure they're about pretty equal to size and equal distance where they need to go. Again, looking at my reference pictures, so I know exactly what I'm doing. There's some little artistic interpretation in this, but really using those pictures to go off as reference. Remember, details take time. You got to make sure you put them on correctly, you follow through, look at your reference material. You have to use, I said earlier, some artistic interpretations, but really you're taking something that's flat, 2D, and making it three-dimensional. But details become very important. The better your details are, the better your shape is, the better everything is, the better your piece will come out in the end. That's something to remember. So really take the time, work on your piece correctly, and you'll have a lot of success. Here I'm adding on the sleeves, again just a coil rolled around where I think the shirt goes, kind of line them up, make sure they're there. Then I'm going to score and slip and blend them on. Remember, I'm only blending one way because I really want to show that this is a t-shirt and help separate his arm from the shirt. So gotta, just do that. So score and slip and then blend it, and then it looks like he has his shirt on. Before I place the arms, I'm going to attach the honey pot, score and slip it onto the front of a little Pooh Bear there, so it's going to stay in place, and that gives me kind of a guideline for where the arms are going to go. I threw this on the wheel. You can coil it, you can hand build it, you can make a pinch bowl, pinch shape, and then kind of work out whatever you want to do. Now I'm just going back through, doing a little cleanup work on the piece before I begin to build the arms. Now I'm going to build the rest of the arms. I'm going to flatten out some clay, roll it with the rolling pin, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm just going to kind of roll it out a little bit and get the shape on there it needs to be. I put some sticks on the side of it, roll it out, get the shape it needs to be, and then I'm going to kind of roll them up like I did everything else, kind of try to make it as hollow as I can, but I'm going to pinch it in to make like a hand's going to go. I'm looking at the reference of those arms or hands, what they're supposed to look like, and just trying to get the basic shape down. And yeah, you can see me trying to play around and make sure I can line them up correctly and be ready to go. Then I'm going to get a shape and finish up making the hands. So look here, I already have one hand put on. I had to make sure it was going to work first. So I didn't want to record a bunch of video, it didn't work, but I just kind of shaped the hand a little bit, added a thumb. I think, in my opinion, he needed a thumb. Now I'm just going in and filling little gaps and spaces with clay on the arm and kind of just smoothing it out, making sure it's round, everything's really well compressed. On the other side, you can see me making the hand shape and see how it's going to go. We're just kind of working around where he's going to hold the pot. This also helps support the piece that's scored and slipped and attached to his belt. As you can see here, I've got the little coil part I made, the hollow tube in the middle. Lining it up, I'm going to pinch the front of it in a little bit so it makes the front of the hand, so you can see there, and then I'm going to score and slip and attach it on there. I try to keep a hollow point so it just allows the piece to dry a little more evenly and all that stuff as well. And then I'll come back in, add some clay to the top part of the hand, add its thumb, and then add the clay where it needs to be and all that stuff as well. Just kind of try to finish it up, and his hand's going to come over the top of the pot. So that'll be a solid piece of clay is what that's going to be when that's done. Nothing wrong using a spoon or a paddle for some shaping. Again, just worrying about making sure it looks correct. Look at your reference and making sure it's just ready to go. You can see I got the part there, just making the hand like he's holding it on there. The score and slip place on again, that's solid clay. And just kind of finish up what I'm doing. I'll give him a thumb. I think my Pooh Bear needs a thumb, so I'm giving him thumbs. Here I'm just working on the blending and the smoothing and the shaping. Here I'm going to add his little thumb on there, score and slip and blend it on, but really a lot of it is smoothing and shaping, just making sure the proportions are correct, everything is well secured together, nothing's going to come off, and it just looks great. That's all you got to do. You just got to kind of keep looking at it, blending it, smoothing it. There's nothing wrong with using your hands and all that stuff as well. Poke the hole in the bottom of the bear so that way the air can escape. I just have nothing wrong with little holes in the bottom. We're going to write honey onto the bottom of on his honey jar like it's showed in all the cartoons that we've seen before. I'll come back in there with a little tool to kind of score those lines a little bit wider. Remember, it's not depth, it's width of line, so they will show up. and really just working on details. Add the top parts to the honey. Like it's full of honey in the jar, and little drips, and just kind of making sure it looks like it's a completed piece. Last part here, I'm using the little ribbon tools, the little small blending tools, carving in, adding more details, making certain parts stand out of the shirt. You know, carving away some excess clay, maybe where it doesn't quite look right, just carving away, smoothing it, making sure it's really well compressed, blended together, and just basically I like the shape. And I'm using that loop tools, the other whatever tool to kind of carve into the clay to make it stand out. Those little rubber ribs work really well on the sticks. They work great. And just, carving, removing, make sure the lines stand out. They're nice and clear and have a nice completed Pooh Bear as I'm looking for here. My last final step I'm doing, really knocking in those details, making sure it looks really complete. One thing to remember, it's good to pick up your piece occasionally, making sure the bottom part of your sculpture looks just as good as the parts everybody sees. Make sure you sign the bottom of your piece. I have my little chop there with my initials. But what I really like to do is I take a slightly damp towel and I just kind of go over it with my finger wrapped up in it and just go through and smooth out any little creases, stuff like that I couldn't do very well with my tool. This kind of is a great way to smooth out your tool. It's not sopping wet, it's just damp. And you can get rid of a lot of those tool marks, stuff like that, really smooth it out and control it with your clay. And also one thing I just like the use of a towel, has a nice little texture to it, kind of finishes off the piece nicely. Once you're done doing that, you're done with your project. Always double check, make sure that hole is nice and clear so the air can escape from the piece, and you're good to go.